15 minutes to get through all of this and the rest. You can quite easily spend 20 minutes in here talking about this. So I do apologise. But what we're showing you here basically is about the high dynamic range between our 802 and our 902. So this is last year's 802 and that's this, obviously this year's 902. We're showing you the difference basically between standard dynamic range in 4K to 4K high dynamic range HDR. So here you can see obviously which one is the better picture, which one is the clearer, which one is showing you the colours better. We're looking at 8-bit technology to 10-bit technology. So I don't know if you guys were here last year, but last year in the picture lineup in this direction we basically showed you the future concept model of 10-bit and about the grayscales. That's the 902 this year. So just take a look now guys, because there's quite a few of you here, viewing angles will be affected, so sort of wander around to have a look at the differences as well. But you can see the quality in this as well. I mean, look at the green produced by the look at the black levels between there and here. The next scene as well is quite good to look at because it shows you in the waterfill in the background. You'll see on this one basically it's just overexposed. Be after this scene. The waterfill on that one, you actually see the reflection of the sunlight. So there you can see overexposed. You can actually see detail there in reflection. If you look here, you can see basically it's too dark because here is concentrating to give you the bright levels there, but on here it's giving you the brightness and still the detail. So we'll move across onto the next one. Okay, so basically here we are doing a comparison on 1080p Blu-ray because traditionally people might buy a 4K TV but the sources out there for 4K are very limited. So what we're showing you here is the capabilities of what the director's intentions were. So in the middle here we have a reference monitor, organic LED reference monitor, very much like we had last year, showing you what the director his intentions were. So what we're showing you is which one is closest to it. So on the competitor's model here, you might see certain areas are actually, sorry about this guys, somebody's left it on pause which has gone into the screensaver mode. So okay, so ultimately what we're showing you here basically is that the conventional TV here that you're seeing is actually giving you more detail than actually you need to see. Because some people say when you look at this, especially in the darker scenes, and not just yet, you'll see that this TV is actually giving you more information, which most people will tend to say, well, I can see more information on this TV than I can there. But that's the irrelevant part. What we're looking at here is what the director originally intended for the customer to see. And we're looking to see which one gives you the closest black levels and depth to what was intended by the director. So use that as your reference and then compare the two. And I'll let you know on the scenes to look at.
Det er fandme mærkeligt. Det er et mærkeligt argument. Jeg er ligeglad med, at det der står bedre er pænt.
So it's from here, so pay attention to sort of where you see Tom Cruise sat in his seat where he looks overexposed. You see a halo effect, you see more detail here than you do on there. So there's nothing wrong with seeing more detail, it's just about creating that what the director truly intended. So always use the reference monitor as your point of reference. Okay, so you can see in the background Tom Cruise's suit is very well overexposed, where you've got more detail, it's not as overexposed. Use this as your reference. Which one is closer to the reference monitor? Do you see a difference? Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on now to the next one. So we'll continue to make this one. Okay. Okay, so on this particular one here, we are now comparing our 902 to a competitor model again, and we are showing you the difference between HDR. Okay, so from this you'll basically see, as we've used the 902 in every case here, remember the 902 has 512 areas of local dimming zones. Our competitor here has 150. Dare I say, if you do know anything about televisions, you may know what model that is. However, once again though, the middle television is the reference monitor. That's a £70,000 monitor, reference monitor that the director would use to create his intentions. You'll see here basically which one is closest. Look at the colour. I'll talk about the haloing in a second, because that is something that's a characteristic of LED technology. So here you'll see, look at the haloing around, the overexposure around when the fireworks go off compared to it does on ours. Now, part of the reason for this, and I'll explain this and show you, is that this is a partial section of the 512 areas of local dimming. So what you see in the middle is where the LED light would sit. Okay? Then you see it sort of is in its own section. When this is pressed up against the monitor or pressed up against the screen itself, if you turn one LED off, the surrounding LEDs will not have any impact on light through to it because it's completely sealed. So basically each area is fully independent of itself. And on top of that, what we've got is like a mesh filter. So if we look at this compared to here, you'll see where this sits over the LEDs, you'll see the centre of it is actually quite dark, very small holes. And as it pans out, you see the holes become larger. The reason for this is to be able to give you even distribution of light from the LED. Otherwise, it would always be slightly brighter and overexposed in the middle, where you want an average light exposure difference, don't you? You want to be able to give you that even light exposure. So, as I said to you before, the characteristic of LED technology is, you'll see haloing, and you do see it on our television as well, but it's about how it deals with the black levels. You'll see which one is closest, colouring production, haloing, which one is closest to the reference monitor. And I do hope to think that you probably think that that one is there too. So the haloing is explained, but it's all about what the director intended and meeting his expectations. Okay?